All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, glad you could join us. Minister Stretch coming up here in hour number 2. That's going to be a lot of fun. So we were just discussing Donald Trump's reaction and his press conference after the killing of the ISIS leader and the comparisons that he made with Osama bin Laden and Barack Obama. We played you a little bit of audio, but this is a story that is really indefensible, folks. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about Lieutenant Alexander Vindman. Who is he? He is a war hero. He won the Purple Heart. I shouldn't say he won, received the Purple Heart Award, okay? And now he is prepared to testify this morning in this impeachment inquiry. Apparently, he heard the actual conversation between the president and the president of Ukraine. So what is Donald Trump and his people doing? They are going after this man who is a war hero. That's right. That's exactly what they're doing, and many people on the right, I shouldn't say many, but a good amount of people on the right are doing that, including Representative Sean Duffy, a Republican out of Wisconsin. He appeared on CNN yesterday, and I want to play you a little bit of this audio. It is reprehensible. Here it is.
So I read his statement, John, and I'm sure you did as well. And it seems very clear that he is incredibly concerned about Ukrainian defense. I don't know that he's concerned about American policy, but his main mission was to make sure that the Ukraine got those weapons. I understand that. We all have an affinity to our homeland where we came from. Like me, I'm sure that Vindman has the same affinity. Or like Mark Meadows.
I'm just sorry. Are you suggesting that you would put Irish defense over U.S. defense? Is that what you're saying, Congressman?
So are we saying that by giving this money to the Ukraine, that absolutely is the money that's going to secure American national defense against Russia? I mean, I don't believe that. And so he's entitled to his opinion. He has an affinity, I think, for the Ukraine. He speaks Ukrainian. He came from the country, and he wants to make sure they're safe and free. I understand that.
That's an asset for this country.
My point is the president is the one who gets to set the policy, and he's the one who looks out for America first.
Okay, first of all, Sean Duffy, you are a disgrace. You are an embarrassment to this country that you ever represented anybody. To go after this guy who has the Purple Heart, who is a war hero, who risked his life for the United States of America, and to say because he wasn't born in this country, that he was born in the Ukraine, that his testimony is not as credible, is an absolute disgrace. Liz Cheney, by the way, the wife of Dick Cheney, is saying anyone who attacks Vindman and others is shameful. Okay, and I'm sorry, the daughter of Dick Cheney, I apologize, Liz Cheney. She said, quote, "It is shameful to question their patriotism, their love of this nation." She is absolutely right. And again, President Trump has done it. Some members of his cabinet have done it. And then we hear this bozo, Sean Duffy, on CNN, Republican, who's doing the exact same thing, going after this guy. It is disgraceful, gentlemen.
When someone like Liz Cheney is going after Duffy after those comments, that should tell you everything you need to know, right? And the first thing I thought of, Brian and JD, when I saw this clip and I saw Sean Duffy and John Berman going at it, and John Berman was trying to reel him in a little bit, was the comments made by President Trump regarding Judge Curiel in Indiana was the first thing I thought of. It was another case where you're discrediting somebody because of their heritage. Judge Curiel was born in Indiana. Because he's bringing up his Mexican heritage and saying he can't do his job because he has Mexican heritage. This is the exact same thing, okay? This is a decorated war veteran, someone who has been committed to the United States of America for a number of years since they were a child. And you're going to try to make it out and discredit his testimony. And by the way, what is Duffy proposing? That he's going to go and lie to Congress? That he's going to go and fabricate what actually he was
because
aware
he was
of?
born
and
in the Ukraine.
Because he was born in the Ukraine?
It's absurd.
I mean, it's just absolutely, we're at a point now where this nonsense, it continues to happen. And Brian, you brought up at the top of the show, okay? This is about anybody that is a Trump supporter. Anytime there is something that negative comes out about the president, or in some case where he has done something that's either dishonorable, possibly illegal, right? They want to discredit whoever it is. Doesn't even matter. You don't have to be a Democrat. JD, you can be a Republican too.
JD, Donald Trump also described this war hero who won the Purple Heart as a never Trumper on social media. Do you support that?
Why would I support that, Brian?
I'm asking you. I don't know.
He moved here when he was, 3 years old?
Correct.
From the Ukraine. He just happened to be born there?
Correct.
How many times has he been back since he's been alive? Maybe 10, 15 times?
Okay. Well, I'm glad we all agree on this, so I'll ask you this.
I mean,
I'll ask you this question.
It almost seems like, and again, I'm not agreeing with the way that this is handled, but it almost seems like they're trying to describe him as some sort of spy.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what I agree. So let me ask you this then. as a Trump supporter, why is he doing this? And I think it's a pretty simple answer, because he's trying to discredit this guy, regardless of the fact that this guy is a war hero. This guy could have saved 1 million lives, and Trump probably would have been doing the same thing.
Well, let's
disgraceful.
Let's put it this way. If the Ukraine situation that happened in the last couple of months didn't take place, would this be happening? I would say the answer to that is absolutely not.
Well, he wouldn't be testifying. Of course it wouldn't.
Right.
That doesn't change my opinion, though. He's testifying. There's no reason to believe that he's going to lie.
We wouldn't know who this guy is.
He is a war hero. Well, but what's your point, though? I don't understand what your point is.
It's part of an ongoing investigation into a possible quid pro quo involving the President of the United States, right, and the Ukrainian government, basically. So, yeah, I mean, I guess what you're saying is correct, but it's kind of a part of a process.
JD, there are Republicans out there that are attacking this guy's not only his credibility, but his nationality. There are plenty of Trump supporters out there that are doing the exact same thing. And in my personal opinion, just as I said that the way Trump handled that press conference the other day was embarrassing and disgraceful, to me this is even worse, because you're going after a guy that not only risked his life for this country, but you're going after a guy that not only is a war hero, but he has the Purple Heart. It is the same, we have Seth Moulton on the show all the time. As you know, Seth Moulton has won medals, okay? He is a war hero. He disagrees with the president on a number of issues. But when Seth Moulton decided to go out of the Democratic presidential race, he decided to bounce out of it because he wasn't getting the numbers. What did Donald Trump do? He decided to go after Seth Moulton and try to embarrass him and saying, who is Seth Moulton? With a question mark? Well, guess what? Seth Moulton is a war hero, something that Donald Trump is not. Donald Trump dodged the military, the so-called bone spurs. And now he's doing it again. He is going after a war hero, a veteran, a man who risked his life for this country. There is absolutely no evidence or reason to believe that this guy right now testifying is lying or not being honest. There is no evidence to support that, but because Donald Trump knows he screwed up, because Donald Trump knows that he did something that could get him impeached, what does he do? He decides to once again go on the attack, and this time not just attacking a politician, not just attacking Rosie O'Donnell, some comedian. No, he's attacking a war hero. That is exactly what he is doing. The nationality, the heritage, and the patriotism of a man who risked his life for this country. And in my personal opinion, it is indefensible. And that is why Liz Cheney has spoken up. And by the way, I'm glad she is. It shows class and honesty on her part to do that. And I'm glad she did that. And you won't find somebody that is more Republican than the Cheney family, okay? But with that being said, she is speaking out against people like this who go on national CNN and try to discredit a war hero. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting. Yeah. It's indefensible. And I don't know what's going to happen in this guy's testimony. I don't know. What I do know is that he heard the actual, this isn't secondhand knowledge. He heard the actual conversation. Make no mistake about it. This is a very important witness. And I want to know what he has to say. Democrats want to know what he has to say. I'm not sure many Republicans want to know what he has to say because it certainly doesn't benefit them. So that's my take on this whole thing, gentlemen, and I think it's a disgrace.
Well, it's like when you have a lawsuit. So you have a fraud lawsuit against somebody else, and you want, and in the deposition, you want to ask as many questions as you can to possibly discredit their testimony, so that it looks like they're not telling the truth when the time comes to actually talk in front of a jury. And that's exactly what's happening here.
I don't think
it is a matter of trying to make this guy whatever he says, and this is very standard for any attorney or anyone trying a case. Whatever he says when the time comes to give his testimony, they want that to have a cloud on it because of whatever is attached to him. Like, for example, him being a Ukrainian spy, despite the fact that, or him having intentions that are not for the positive of the United States, despite the fact that he moved here when he was 3 years old from the Ukraine, and he has a Purple Heart. I think they're choosing the wrong guy, but this is a very, very standard approach to trying to discredit somebody before they give a very important testimony.
I can only tell you, in the 10 years I was a court reporter, never once in a courtroom, and I heard a lot of testimony, never once in a courtroom did I ever hear an attorney try to discredit somebody based on their nationalism.
It's clearly a far cry. I mean, I don't think it's going to be overly effective. I think it kind of makes them look bad, but that's what's going on here.
And there's another case here where, this is another case, and there's been numerous ones, where there's been a use of ethnicity and heritage to discredit somebody or try to discredit somebody, right? It happened with the Squad, of course, with Omar and with Tlaib. Tlaib was born in Detroit. She's from Michigan, okay? And because she has Palestinian heritage, that Somehow that's supposed to discredit her as an American. Obviously, we know what happened with Omar, with Somalia, okay? And even the other two who are American citizens. The point being is that this is not a tactic that should be used, and it's been Trump supporters and Donald Trump himself that does. Democrats haven't done this, right? Have we heard about Democrats going out and saying anything about someone's ethnicity or someone's heritage and said, you know what? Because they're from Panama, they're not able to do, they're not able to do their job correctly. Because they're from Bolivia, they're not able to do their job right.
It's not about doing the job
Trump
right. It's about this person, committing a treasonous act and not having the best interest of the United States at heart, and that's what they're trying to prove.
And there's no evidence to prove that at all. That's what makes this a disgrace. When a man risks his own life for the benefit of the United States of America, that's enough for me to say.
It's simple as actions speak louder than words, and the action is this guy
is a hero.
Did serve the military and clearly did a damn good job.
Yeah, and he's a hero, exactly. But you might want to tell Donald Trump that. All right, here's what we got to do, gentlemen. We got to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get an update on these Getty fires in L.A. It's absolutely crazy. It even is affecting people like LeBron James to the point where he struggled to even find a place for his family to stay last night. We'll talk about that with KNX's very own Brian Ping in L.A. Coming up next, you're listening to The Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM 720 AM KDAWN.